Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of Red Card Headbutt Wrestling. We are coming to you live from somewhere in the hills of West Virginia for this telecast. For those of you that aren't all that familiar with West Virginia, it's that place right next to Virginia that you drive through and see the giant crucifixes on top of hills all over the place. Our combatants in this contest are veteran grappler J.C. Dykes Jr. J.C. Dykes, dressed in his finest jorts and the black wife beater that he normally only wears on Sundays, special occasions, and when he has to go before a judge explaining why the ankle monitor came off again, is taking on the reigning and defending 27.5-time Hobo Camp champion, the Mighty Hobo. The stats on the Hobo are impressive to say the least. Standing 6'4" and weighing in at 349 pounds, not counting the fleas and ticks, is sporting the damnedest skull at this side of Jesse the Body Ventura. The Mighty Hobo is down but not out as he hits Dykes with a strike to the stomach that sends him hurtling out of the ring. While Dykes takes advantage of the referees, let's see if he knows how to count to 10 count. Let's pause for a moment to talk about the attire for this evening of the Mighty Hobo. You fans at home watching the program for the first time may not believe it judging by the looks of it, but normally the Mighty Hobo is dressed even shabbier than that. He's usually adorned in rags, newspapers, and at most times will have a stick and a kerchief with him. However, I was briefed by my producer Frank in the truck that the Hobo recently lost all of his clothing in a fight for a $5 footlong. From what I can see here, it appears that the Mighty Hobo has robbed somebody of Andre the Giant's old wrestling trunks. One can only imagine the smell of compressed flatulence contained within. The Mighty Hobo hits Dykes with a hard right hand, hardened by years of sleeping in boxcars, and sends him back out onto the floor. Now maybe my self-medicating with radiator whiskey that's causing my vision to go a little funny, but my God, is J.C. Dykes' manager that teenage boy in the khaki shorts? Frank, he really is, huh? Well, at least he didn't stop to take a damn selfie while his guy was writhing in pain on the ground. The young child that appears to be his manager seems to be giving him some kind of advice that will let him gain an advantage over the Mighty Hobo. I'd imagine that most of that advice has something to do with offering him a styrofoam plate of cornbread and baked beans in exchange for forfeiting the match. You know what, Frank? I think we really need to investigate whether or not he's actually a licensed wrestling manager. If I swear to God that if he is, the first thing I'm doing when this broadcast is over is calling my wife and telling her to cancel that $5 donation to Big Brothers Big Sisters. The action, as you can clearly see, is spilled out onto the floor as J.C. Dykes is absolutely peppering the Hobo with strikes all over his body. He has him in a headlock, and my God, I can't go without saying it, but J.C. Dykes looks like what you would see if you wiped the paint off of one of those ceramic sad clown figurines. The Mighty Hobo about to commit an act of alleged child abuse on J.C. Dykes' manager. For God's sake, kid, just give him what he wants. He's going to turn you black and blue if you don't. But I don't think it would be the shade of blue that you can find on all the fine products down at Bill's Powder Blue Emporium of Beckley, West Virginia. They have all the latest in powder blue products and apparel, ranging from gaudy tuxedos that you buy for functions that you don't really want to go to an old Chevy Bel Air that's really just sort of become some kind of weird birdbath in the back. Bill's has a wider selection than any powder blue themed store in the area. So head on down to Bill's Powder Blue Emporium. That's Bill's Powder Blue Emporium of Beckley, West Virginia. Be there. Both men are back in the ring and Dykes hits the Hobo and both men have tumbled to the mat and Dykes now has beard fleas. The two combatants are now on the ground, and from my vantage point in the booth, it seems that Dykes' manager is saying something to him, possibly shouting in a voice that hasn't cracked yet some words of encouragement. What's that, Frank? Well, folks, it appears that Frank in the truck has dispatched one of our fine engineering crew down to ringside and has picked up exactly what was said. According to our engineering team, Dykes' manager said the following, and I quote, "Please hurry up. If my mom finds out I went out without finishing mowing the lawn, she isn't going to let me go to the Harry Potter convention next weekend. Let's hope for his sake this match finishes up before he gets found out." Dykes covers the Mighty Hobo and doesn't exactly get the result he was hoping for, with the Hobo putting his foot on the ropes. Hobo seems like he's completely out of it, which wouldn't be a problem if he had just brought his shopping cart full of cans to ringside with him to lean up against. The radiator whiskey seems to be affecting him more than it has myself, which makes me think that I should probably seek treatment or perhaps ingest some charcoal to counteract the effects of whatever it was that I drank out of that unlabeled glass jar before we came on the air. Folks, this is getting quite serious. Of course, I'm talking about the Hobo's inability to mount any kind of an offense. If this gets any worse, I'm going to have to say that the referee should absolutely step in, as it appears that the Mighty Hobo simply cannot defend himself anymore. Perhaps it's the smell emanating from his body that's keeping the official from getting within smelling range of the Mighty Hobo, but this is certainly becoming quite ugly. As you folks saw just a moment ago, the Mighty Hobo executed what could be considered his first offensive move in some time in the contest by tossing J.C. Dykes out of the ring. Well, perhaps he had a little bit of assistance when Dykes caught a good deep inhale with a foul aroma coming from the body of the Mighty Hobo and decided to bail out before the referee could make a 3 count. Now both men are outside of the ring, and I've got to be honest with you viewers at home, I'm pretty certain that we will get a count out as soon as the referee remembers what number comes between 7 and 9. Now the referee is down on the arena floor, and boy am I using the term arena loosely, offering J.C. Dykes some hand sanitizer so he doesn't give himself one of those weird Oregon Trail diseases from getting his hands anywhere near his mouth after making bodily contact with the Mighty Hobo. The Mighty Hobo is now walking around the ring, and my God, this is getting out of hand. The Hobo is chasing the teenage male that is apparently the manager of J.C. Dykes around the ring. Frank, see if our sound guy can pick. Good, you're already on it. Okay, he's telling you. Folks, in a not so surprising turn of events, the Mighty Hobo has apparently offered that young man $20 to get him, in his words, a whole bunch of Sudafed. The feed on the ringside microphone went out on us, so we can't quite tell what he was planning on using that Sudafed for. I can only imagine he has terrible sinus issues from all those nights sleeping in boxcars. Folks, this match has gone to a double countout. I don't think this is going to be the final contest between these two combatants. We will get word on the potential of another contest between the two of these men. That wraps things up for this week on Red Card Headbutt. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you next time. Folks, we are back live here on Red Card Headbutt Wrestling. My sincerest apologies for the technical issues we had during the past segment, and I should be getting the feedback to my monitor at any moment. Oh, Frank, just try it now. Frank, what the hell is going on here? Am I feeling some terrible after effects from the radiator whiskey, or did the Mighty Hobo suddenly lose about 157 pounds? No, huh? Well, folks, the match scheduled apparently is J.C. Dykes Jr. against John Cena. I'm definitely sure that guy isn't John Cena, and that's definitely not the Mighty Hobo. For one thing, the referee actually went and checked him for foreign objects, and no cans came flying out of his trunks. All of you viewers at home watching this live, I cannot express how absolutely befuddled I am. Something terrible has happened to John Cena, and I'm assuming that the Mighty Hobo streak of bad luck has continued, as it appears that J.C. Dykes has either stolen the Hobo's Big Red Andre the Giant trucks, or he has won them in some sort of back alley craps game. I'm leaning towards the craps game because I can't fathom someone willingly taking any clothing that belonged to the Mighty Hobo, and Dykes just looks like the type of person that would cheat a transient out of his clothes in a rigged game of chance. We just witnessed a stomp on the hands of J.C. Dykes by John Cena, and I'm quite shocked that his hands aren't flatter than a 10-cent pancake from the weight. From the looks of things, it appears that Cena is finally complying with the WWE wellness policy. I'm going to be skating quite a fine line here because apparently this station has been getting a number of letters from the people in West Virginia about some of the comments I made in our last telecast about their wrestlers and about the state of West Virginia in general. And yes, folks, they actually wrote in letters. I'm surprised because by my use of the word letters, it appears that more than one person in West Virginia knows how to read and write. Apparently the teenage boy that was managing J.C. Dykes in last week's contest has been grounded. He is now being joined by a guy who was listed on our format sheet as man who's far too into Sons of Anarchy for his own good. The referee administers a 10 count on the floor, which is still surprising the living hell out of me, on Dykes as he and his manager attempt to seek some alone time on the arena floor. My God, Dykes looks just enough like the Mighty Hobo in his stolen wrestling trunks to make the whole thing completely and totally disturbing. As we get a closer look at Dykes, it appears that he managed to shave as much of his beard off as he possibly could after contracting a severe case of beard lice in last week's contest. Dykes now walking around on the outside of the ring trying to get his wits about him. He has apparently bitten off more than he can chew in this contest, and I can safely say with a clear and honest conscience that John Cena appears to have bitten off more than 3 men can chew. I don't want to say anything about his training habits, but it seems that his workout routine generally consists of him jogging from one all-you-can-eat restaurant to another all-you-can-eat restaurant. I personally witnessed this feat earlier in the week, and I almost stayed awake during the entire 6-hour trip it took him to get from one buffet to the other one directly immediately across the street. Dykes appears to be smarting from a kick to the ropes by John Cena that connected with his lower torso. I have to say lower torso because I keep getting memos in from the station as we are on the air saying we can no longer say nut shot. Dykes' lice treatment headgear has fallen off in the center of the ring, and dear God fans, it appears that all the critters that attach themselves to the body of JC Dykes have finally overpowered him, and the discount store lice medication has failed to work as his hair is coming off of his body in clumps thanks to the encounter he had last week with the Mighty Hobo. Definitely looking the worse for wear, Dykes takes what is remaining of his knotted up locks and tosses them outside the ring, surely infecting several members of the front row with something they're going to need a special cream and a tiny blue comb to get rid of. Dykes is now back up to a full vertical base and tosses his special head towel at John Cena. John Cena may profess that you can't see him, but right now he can't see to defend himself as Dykes is taking complete control. He also can't see his feet or the little numbers on the scale, but let's congratulate him for actually being willing to walk out in front of paying fans looking like that. A knee drop that John Cena unsuccessfully blocked by... Hold on a sec, folks. What, Frank? We're getting another goddamn memo from the station. All right, it's popping up on my screen right now. Okay, let me pull it up here, folks. Folks, I'm going to try and truncate what has been said by the director of operations of the station. He has asked me to let you all know that a special rematch has been signed for next week between JC Dykes and the Mighty Hobo. Somehow the Hobo managed to find enough quarters to make a call from a payphone, and even more impressively found a working payphone to lobby for a match. The match will be a Falls Count Anywhere, Anything Goes street fight for the Mighty Hobo's Hobo Camp title, and when we say street, we literally mean street. Tune in next week to see that one. Wait, there's more. It's a note for me personally. It reads essentially that some of the wrestlers are growing quite upset, and especially some of our fans in West Virginia are insinuating that I am making fun of them. Apparently, I was hired to do a specific job, and I am not fulfilling my contractual end of the bargain. So next week during the street fight, for every sideways remark I make about the fans or the wrestlers, I will apparently be fined $100 per infraction. Ah, son of a bitch. Looks like I'm going to have to call the street fight completely down the middle. That being said, let's get as much in as we can before the end of this one. Dykes untying the turnbuckle pad, trying to find the sandwich that John Cena hid so he could have his mid-match snack and eat it before he gets to it. The rest back is turned, and bam, John Cena gets rammed into the exposed ring of the turnbuckle. Cena staggers back and is dazed and falls down to the canvas. Dykes hits a senton splash, and ladies and gentlemen, I cannot believe it. JC Dykes has just beaten John Cena. Ring all the church bells and call all your friends and neighbors. He has just beaten John Cena. That wraps things up this week. Tune in next time for the epic street fight for the Hobo Camp title. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you so much for joining us this evening. We're coming to you live from the streets of War, West Virginia for this monumental contest. Appropriately enough, the Mighty Hobo is defending his prestigious Hobo Camp champ against capable grappler JC Dykes Jr. in a street fight. As per the station's direction, I'm going to refrain from any smartassery as best as I possibly can and call this one right down the middle. Mostly because the station is going to fine me $100 for every off-color remark I make concerning either the town, the wrestlers, or the people in attendance. Now that we've gotten our introductions out of the way, the Mighty Hobo seems to be getting the best of JC Dykes in a test of strength. Now he's got him in a side wrist lock that looks to be quite painful from our vantage point. Because of the nature of the contest, we only have 2 cameras here to document the match, but I can assure you fans viewing at home that the look on Dykes' face is one of great pain. I would definitely not want to be him right now. Hobo finally lands the first significant strike of the match with a very hard right hand that sends Dykes crashing to the canvas. We get a flurry of offense out of JC Dykes, but oh dear sweet Jesus, the Hobo counters with a thunderous forearm that sends Dykes back down to the canvas once again. While I don't expect to be calling a technical classic on this evening in War, West Virginia, I have to say that even this early in the contest, I am legitimately shocked that the action hasn't spilled out onto the streets. Before the bell sounded, I heard some local officials saying to my producer, Frank, in the truck, that they were actually contemplating getting an insurance adjuster into town on standby so that they can assess the property damage caused by the brawl between these two as soon as possible. Dykes is being choked up against the ropes by the Mighty Hobo, and despite the referee's completely illogical use of a count in this street fight, perhaps he is going to be the one voice of reason in what I feel is a powder keg that's just about to explode. Both men are trading kicks to the gut with each other, which isn't hurting the Mighty Hobo. This doesn't surprise me at all because the Hobo is an extremely large man and there's several layers that Dykes would have to kick through for it to cause any kind of damage. So Frank, that's going to be the first find of the night, huh? Me saying that he's excessively rotund for a wrestling transient and that you'd have to get the jackhammer to reach through his vital organs? Okay, people, we're up to $300 in fines now. Seeing as how the station was only paying me $250 to call this contest, it's time to unleash hell. The Mighty Hobo and Dykes have spilled out onto the streets of War, West Virginia to battle it out in a surprising turn of events. They aren't already covered in potting soil because I honestly assumed when I got here the streets weren't going to be paved yet. They're brawling on the streets as the people curiously look on, waiting for them to hurry up and finish this ridiculous nonsense because they all want to get back to the UFO viewing party. Hobo whips Dykes into a stalk of corn as a bunch of guys in camouflage hunting caps look on, and the shopkeepers in this surprisingly paved road are all going to be getting really upset if this match causes any actual property damage because it normally takes 8 or 10 weeks for a new piece of window glass to get into the hilly terrain surrounding this town by covered wagon. Surely this match will get a lot of local press coverage on the page of this town's tri-weekly newspaper. Viewers from out of West Virginia that have never heard of the town this match is taking place in, one of our interns has found some material on the town of War, West Virginia before we got here. We'll get that info in a second as Dykes has slammed the Hobo head first against the town's one bar. Now the whole damn structure is going to have to be checked for termites. A headbutt that does absolutely no damage, followed by a barrage of drunken punches by the both of them. Each punch delivered by each combatant is equal to the amount of alcohol content you would find in one of the brown jugs with X's on it that are surely spread out all over this hick town. As the townsfolk look on thinking that this is not the stage production of Where the Red Fern Grows that they all paid to see, let's get on to those fun facts about War, West Virginia. According to the 2010 United States Census, the population of the town was around 826 residents. As a time saver to the viewing public, I'll go ahead and do the math for you. That's somewhere close to an impressive 7,500 teeth. I gotta tell you folks, for a violent street ball, there sure seems to be a lot of people standing around and looking in the opposite direction. Perhaps they're trying to figure out where the UFO came from, or maybe somebody told them that they're stuck here forever and not allowed to leave. Looks like the action is finally about to come back in the ring, and dear sweet Jesus, tell me that the Mighty Hobo is not squatting down in the ring, getting ready to take a Mighty Hobo. Oh, he isn't. Well, thank God, but it probably wouldn't be the first time these people saw somebody publicly defecating in their streets. According to the information I've gathered, it's actually how they choose their mayor. And they are back out again into the crowd. Check your wallets and hide your purses, fans, because the Hobo is coming to scavenge for change. As people either sit completely unimpressed by the action or horrified by the smell coming off of the body of the red-assed assassin, I have to make mention of that minivan in the background with the luggage rails on top. Seriously, people, it's not like you're actually going to be going anywhere. They are beginning to brawl all around what appears to be the ring truck, while it appears that a fan of the Philadelphia 76ers basketball team is standing watching the action unfold. Yeah, if I were a fan of the Sixers, I would want to leave the city of brotherly love and move to West Virginia in shame, too. Both men are completely spent and look to be completely exhausted. If you look slightly beyond the wrestlers and the referee, you can see a vehicle that I'm just going to dub as Joseph's Amazing Technicolor Shitbox. Dear God, if he hits him with this, it's all over. The Mighty Hobo has just given Dykes a pile driver on God knows what, and God damn it, this is surely going to require him getting at least 3 or 4 series of injections directly into his stomach. Folks, I'm being told by Frank in the truck that he is being forced to take a break by the station management to realign the fine counter. We'll be back on the air in just a few moments. Folks, we are back and the fine counter is up to about $7,000, which means I might have to get out of town while the getting is good before the one cop gets his one bullet out of his one shirt pocket and tries to have me sent to a debtor's prison. The Mighty Hobo has been put out of the ring, and I gotta tell you fans, these two damn near killed each other during the commercial break. People are getting in their vehicles and trying to leave town from all this carnage. The referee should really put a stop to all this. I literally have no idea what is going on. The Mighty Hobo is trying to get, dear sweet Jesus, the referee is inexplicably throwing a fireball at the Mighty Hobo, and I'm absolutely disgusted because that fireball missed by a mile, and all it did was cause slight damage to the Hobo's skullet. That's it. Screw it. I've had enough. Screw this town. We're getting out of here. Pick up this truck. I don't care about the rest. I'll be here there in 10 seconds. Let's wrap things up for Red Card Headbutt Wrestling. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you next time.